During the first Gulf War, he made SAS history by trekking 200 miles across the desert to survive the ill-fated Bravo 20 mission and escape Iraq. Since then, he's made his mark as an author with a number of best-selling action novels. In a moment, we'll be talking to Chris Ryan about his latest book. But first, here's a reminder of what his stories can look like on the telly.
You only care about soaps and soccer. One day we will win the hearts and minds of your people. They will cry, bring our troops back home.
The fate of Porter and Baxter is not a situation over which you have any influence.
Why would I want Porter
to save your own skin? They're going to kill them, and you know it.
Chris Ryan, welcome. Very action-packed. That was Strike Back, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And you're back with The Kill Zone. That's not short on action either.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, it's based. It starts off in Afghanistan, which obviously we all know how dangerous that place is, and then it moves into Somalia, and then there's a link to Northern Ireland where some dissident terrorists have got a drugs line running, and they set this up to bring a dirty bomb into the UK.
When you actually write about these things in a fiction sense, how much do you draw upon your experience when you're in the Special Forces?
Well, I rely on my memories of being in the SAS for them 10 years, but I also speak to servicemen who have actually served out in Afghanistan. And, because things change at a rapid rate now in terms of techniques and how,
Yeah, because there's a scene in the book where you just depict quite a horrible, where your Jack Harker gets caught, your character, and he's kept as a prisoner by the Taliban. And it's so realistic. I believe that's you and you've experienced that.
Well, no, I actually was lucky enough to escape, but, well, 4 of my colleagues were captured during the first Gulf conflict.
And they told you about
yes,
it?
Basically, we had a good debriefing session. And also the SAS during selection goes through an escape and evasion exercise where you are subjected to resistance to interrogation. So we're taught different techniques, but actually it was listening to the guys who had been interrogated, and, it's probably not a nice place to be, as a prisoner of war, especially if you're being beaten up and tortured.
Yeah, to say the least. When you talk about the events that you depict here in a fiction sense, you're drawing also upon the 7/7 bombings in London. There is a link, at least, anyway, isn't there? Why did you decide to make it so relevant?
Well, in the story, it's trying to keep things current, but within the story there's a twist, and I'm misleading the reader to thinking that that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a replication of the bombing in London, but actually the Taliban are setting something else up, which you find out right at the end of the storyline.
What's it like moving from being in the Special Forces to be a fiction writer?
Terrifying. I was quite comfortable being in the army.
How can that be terrifying?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because when I was in the SAS, you did some dangerous operations, but nobody knew who you were. You could operate, and you could do
it on telly
exactly.
With your face
and it's
out
not.
to the world.
I'm not comfortable with it. And it's the same with book signings. You sat behind that tiny desk. You've got a queue of people that want to come and see you.
Before you came here, you said, "I'm scared of being interviewed." I'm scared of you.
No, absolutely not. I'm a teddy bear. But no, it's a completely different life. But I guess life in the SAS, you can operate as an individual, which I did, on numerous occasions. Yeah. And writing is, it's an individual's job.
You're talking about the loss of anonymity, I suppose. Yes. Now, what kind of reaction have you had since you've kind of made your face public?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, today we're just down at Canary Wharf, and there was hundreds of people came out, and it's really interesting. I think they just want to come and see what you're supposed to look like, without the bars.
Do you sometimes feel you have to be a bit mean and put on a mean face?
And suck my stomach in, yes, absolutely, and sound a bit taller.
It's great stuff. Very briefly, you're writing another book that's going to be before the game Medal of Honor comes out, the computer game. What do you hope you'll achieve with that?
Well, I was approached by the Medal of Honor company to do a prequel, which was basically a book to go explaining the characters within the game. Now, I'm not a gamer myself, but I do know boys between the ages of 9 to 14 to 16 are reading less and less because of TV and computer games.
So this is a way of getting them to learn
So I thought it was an ideal opportunity to stick a book on a game, and hopefully they'll start, reading.
You're doing a good job, Chris Ryan. Thanks for coming in. Good to talk to you.